You said for Ben Carson, being Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, you said that bringing a neurosurgeon into the housing area will be positive and constructive. How so?
Well, a couple of things. Today I am the chairman of the subcommittee on housing. One of the things that we've focused on is the fact that so many folks who are poor and looking for ways to improve their plight live in housing that has not been inspected for years, and yet there sits in an account millions of dollars waiting to be used for inspections. The current administration has not done that. I think bringing in a fresh pair of eyes and someone who is going to be meticulous about the details is going to be very helpful. I think we'll see millions of dollars that have been sitting there used for inspections to improve the quality of life, to improve the quality of the living space of the folks who are living in HUD houses. So that's going to be a good thing. The second thing I believe is you bring a guy who we all know is brilliant into a space without any set of preconceived ideas. He brings in this fresh perspective, someone who's done very well in life, who actually lived in poverty and now is going to help others who are living in the same place that he lived in get better. That's good news for those folks living there.
If you're chairing or you're there for his confirmation hearing, what do you want to hear him say?
Well, I want to know his vision for improving the use of the resources given to HUD, number one. Number two, how do you actually create a path that transitions people out of government subsidized housing into to the free market? That's going to be an important part of the conversation I'll have with him hopefully this week as well as during confirmation.
In the 1960s, when the HUD secretary was elevated to cabinet rank, it was because of the unrest in the cities. Do you think this is a post where housing can be used to get at some of those issues that are tensions in our cities today?
A major part of what the HUD should focus on is urban development. And I think as a person born in Detroit who has seen the revitalization happen in Detroit, I think he will take with a new set of lens the approach that is consistent with how do you rebuild some of the areas of our country that have to be rebuilt for our country, the American family, to prosper together. I think he will take a very conscientious approach. Hopefully he'll go on a listening tour where he has a chance to listen to some of the success stories, take a look at some of the stories that were supposed to be success stories that never turned out. I think he will take a very slow, methodical approach to understanding and appreciating the challenges and some of the deficiencies that are happening. And then you have to translate that into public policy.
On the question of urban affairs, what sense of a priority do you think this is for Donald Trump and based on the campaign he ran?
Well, one of his closest allies in the last several months of the campaign was Ben Carson. To put one of your closest allies into such a strategic position, I think sends an important signal that he is serious about improving the quality of life in the urban areas. As Donald Trump said on the campaign trail, there's not much to lose. I would say exactly the opposite. Perhaps there's a lot to gain. I think Ben Carson reflects what there is to gain.
So if on the one hand Ben Carson reflects what there is to gain, let me ask you about Steve Bannon. He was the executive in charge of Breitbart News, and he said he gave a platform to the alt-right. What the leader of the alt-right is they're white nationalists. So if on the one hand Ben Carson sends that signal, what signal does it send that a senior advisor to the president is somebody who boasted about giving a platform to white nationalists?
Well, I don't know Mr. Bannon at all. Never met him. Never have been to the Breitbart site. So it's hard for me to comment on anything other than what I've seen in the press. What I think we'll have to do is judge the Trump administration by what comes out of the Trump administration and not the collective pieces.
Right. But if Ben Carson sends a signal, surely then Bannon does too as well. What kind of signal do you think that is?
Can't tell you, to be honest with you. Once again, what I know about Ben Carson is through my personal interaction, watching him on the campaign trail. I hosted a town hall that had 5,000 people there to listen to Ben Carson. I did something similar for Donald Trump as well, where we had three or 4,000 folks show up at a meeting for Donald Trump as well. So those two men I've had personal interaction. I'm very cautious to have a conversation about someone whom I have not had a conversation at all, nor have I met or been to the Breitbart site.